"Stop playing the nurse," my brother muttered into my ear, loud enough that a couple officers glanced our way, but soft enough that he could deny it if he wanted. The chandelier hanging over the military ballroom shimmered across the ribbons on his chest, making his smirk look like polished steel. That familiar burn crawled up my spine again. Shame. Anger. Restraint. 3 ghosts that had lived in me for years. Still, I held my champagne flute with a steady hand, though the taste had long faded. I refused to meet his gaze. Instead, I looked beyond him toward the far corner where the general's son sat alone in his wheelchair, swallowed by his dress blues like a child desperate to disappear. My brother scoffed. "Come on, Lena. You stitch up wounds. You're not a hero. Quit acting like one." His voice slid under my skin like an icy blade, the same kind he once used to carve apart everything I thought I could trust. But tonight wasn't about him. I stepped out of his shadow and let the soft rise of the orchestra lead me toward the boy who had no reason to look up. But he did. And when he did, there was a flicker in his eyes, a startled softness you only see in soldiers who can't remember the last time someone treated them gently. "May I have this dance?" I asked. His breath caught. I can't." "You can," I said quietly. "With me." I unlocked the brakes on his chair and guided him toward the dance floor. The music deepened, the room shifted. People drifted aside like parting waves, curious, hesitant. Then I saw him, the 4-star general. Rigid, unmoving, eyes bright with something raw. He stared at us like he was seeing an apparition. When he approached, slow, unsteady, the air felt like it was splitting open. He stopped beside me, voice thick. "Colonel, you've just given my son his life back." Behind me, my family went still. And that was the moment. The moment my revenge finally took root. My brother hadn't always been the toxin in my blood. Once, God help me, I believed in him. I thought he loved me the way a brother is supposed to. As children, we were inseparable. I bandaged his scraped knees on the field, he shielded me from the neighborhood bullies. We swore loyalty to each other before we even understood what betrayal meant. But the military reshaped him. Ambition sharpened confidence into cruelty. Rank tasted sweeter to him than loyalty. At some point, he decided my quiet discipline threatened his loud ascent. He craved glory. I craved purpose. He wanted attention. I wanted impact. And impact, to him, was unforgivable. The first warning arrived softly. A rumor questioning my medical judgment. Then a promotion quietly withheld. Then a formal review. Anonymous complaints, each crafted by someone who knew my routines, my handwriting, my vulnerabilities. I followed the trail. Only one person fit. My brother, the man who swore he'd always protect me, had been slicing me apart from behind. But I didn't crumble. I didn't shout. I didn't confront him. I began to plan. Revenge doesn't need fury. It needs patience. I learned everything about his ambitions, his fixation on becoming the general's protégé, his desperation for a pristine public image that would rocket him into command. He wanted a legacy. So I'd give him a moment he would never escape. I earned the general's family's trust, not by scheming, but through genuine respect. His son, David, had been slipping into isolation since the accident cost him his mobility. People treated him like an emblem instead of a person. I talked with him, trained with him, listened to him, helped him reclaim pieces of himself he thought were lost in the wreck. And the general noticed. He saw how I treated his son like a soldier, not a burden. He saw the precision in the hands my brother mocked. He saw who I truly was, who my brother tried to erase. The gala's timing was perfect. Not staged, just anticipated. I knew the general would speak. I knew reporters lingered in the shadows. I knew my brother wouldn't resist belittling me in front of others. I needed him to reveal himself. And he did. When the general wrapped an arm around his son and murmured his gratitude, the ballroom burst into applause. Cameras flashed. My family stood frozen, realizing the woman they dismissed as nothing more than a nurse had just earned the public admiration of the highest-ranking officer in the room. My brother lurched forward, forcing a smile, trying to steal the spotlight. The general's expression hardened. "Captain," he said to my brother, his voice cold enough to mute the orchestra. "I've reviewed the anonymous reports you submitted against Colonel Hart." My brother paled. Yes, I had already given the general the proof, every message, every doctored document, every lie. The general continued, "Her record is flawless. Yours is not." My brother stumbled back as the room watched his ambitions crack apart. For the first time, he was the one wounded by the cuts he'd made. Later, after the crowd thinned and justice settled over the room like fine dust, I stood alone on the balcony, breathing in night air that tasted clean for the first time in years. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free. My brother mistook my silence for weakness. He forgot silence can be strategy. He forgot quiet hands can wield power. He forgot something I will always remember. Some of us don't need to shout to be heard. We simply wait for the right moment to speak.